Welcome back to the channel where we all can learn and grow together. Today we are out in the shop because there is some much needed TLC to be done out here, and we're going to talk about the realities of having a small shop like this. Stay tuned. One of the things I want to talk to you about, and this isn't to try and call anybody else out, but more or less to try and just implement some new ideas I have for cleaning this in my own shop. Whether you want to apply this to your shop, that is up to you, but I think the most important thing is the creativity that comes out of your shop, and as long as you got good quality stuff coming out of your shop, however you run your shop, that's totally up to you. But for me, there's some things going on in my tiny little shop that I'm not too proud of, but we're going to get this straightened up, and we're going to implement, or I'm going to implement some stuff I'm going to try and do so this crazy mess that's in here don't happen no more, because I don't want it to continue. So I'm getting ready to show something about a tiny shop. The realities of owning this is when you get going on projects in here, it is real easy to get overwhelmed with having tools out that you don't need no more, and then you got stuff on top of stuff, and then it gets so it's hard to work in here, and you're limited on space anyway, so it kind of makes it hard to function. So I kind of actually made this a little bit more of a mess than what it really was, but it still was getting to be a mess. So I'm not going to make this whole video about my mess and me cleaning this shed up of mine, but something I'm going to implement is a 5 before and 5 after. It's 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after I get done with projects out here. I'm going to try and implement and create some good habits of coming out here 5 minutes before I start what I'm doing, reassess what I'm working on and what tools I have out, and if I don't need the tools out or I haven't already put them away, I'm going to put the tools away that I don't need and reassess a process of organization to be able to keep things organized, because that is very key in a small space like this, is keeping things organized and keeping a very tight process on how we're doing things in here. So I'm gonna start trying to take 5 minutes before each project to try and straighten up. It's something I really was good at when I first started, but now I got umpteen projects going in through here, and I need to really start being out here every day so I can start getting these finished, because I hate starting stuff I can't finish, and I got at least 9 or 10 started projects in here that's all work in progresses, but I really want to start getting out here and getting a lot of these finished out here, especially most of them won't cost me nothing to fix them or get the stuff finished. Is just there for me putting in doing it. So, and then when I'm done, just like being at work or something and cleaning up your workspace at the end of the day, I'm going to try and take the 5 minutes afterwards to reassess not only my next process the next day, but just to do the 5 S's you would normally have at work, and cleaning and sweeping and stuff. So just taking 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after. Now I know those 5 minutes will turn into more than 5 minutes, but I think it's really important to have a good cleaning process to actually building, because if you're not, you're just fighting over everything, And as you see now, like I said, I've kind of moved things around and over exaggerated this, but it's still not far from the truth of the reality of having a small shop. Is you could really look at all this disaster. Looks like a hurricane went through here. And so I'm going to get this cleaned up and hopefully be able to, with implementing good habits in what I'm doing in here, this kind of thing won't happen no more. Again, I'm not trying to do this to bark on anybody else's work processes. You're allowed to run your area the way you want to, but I feel it's very important for me to keep this as clean as possible, and I've kind of slacked in this area. So again, I'm not going to make the whole video about me cleaning up my shop, but I'm going to clean this up and get back with you and update you on some future projects I'm working on in here, and hopefully we could get to doing these inside the shop because weather's kind of not cooperating, and I'm going to just work around the weather anyway. So stick with me and we'll get this cleaned up. Okay, that is a whole lot better than what it was. It's still, things in this shop is still kind of on top of each other, but anybody has a small shed or something they're using to do their woodworking or their creativity out knows it is very hard to not have stuff on top of each other. But this is a whole lot better. So one of the things I need to do, I got these here from the Dollar Tree even a long time ago, so it's something I should have. The light's kind of glaring there, but I'm wanting to attach these hooks somewhere in here so I could better organize my extension cords right here. I try and keep them all wrapped up and at least something around them, but when you constantly have to pull them out, it's hard to always keep them totally organized. As you see, some of them's kind of getting they're getting loose from how I had them. I try not to mistreat my cords, but still when you're throwing them around. So this is one project that's free for me to do. I got the screws. This only cost me $1. It's just coming up with a spot where to put them, where they also, I won't be rubbing into them and taking them off the hooks all the time just by me rubbing into them. So there's one project. Second project I got that I want to do is I move the operation of the workbench build inside because I'm tired of the weather holding me up on this. I want to get this completed for you guys and move on to what we were wanting to do on the bottom. Is still going to put a shelf down there, but I want to create some ways for tool storage on this, because when I'm helping family out and doing home improvements for some of the family, I want to be able to take this workbench with me and use it places, and I want to be able to have a way to keep my tools organized when I'm not in the shop and at family members' houses helping them out. So I want to make a way for tool storage down there, and I actually got these planks here that I'm going to use in the process of doing it. So I already got the wood and the way to do it. So when we start on the bottom, however, we will be moving on to power tools. But between today and tomorrow, I'm going to start shooting a video on me getting this top done so we can start moving forward with this here and get that project out of the way so we can move on to the bottom. And in the process of us moving on to the bottom, rain, sleet, tornadoes, Wizard of Oz reenactments, There's some other things I would like to do out here. Is one, this dresser right here is what I've been using to keep my nails, screws, bolts and stuff up here, sandpapers here, other odds and ends down there, and then like I got some tubing stuff here for like window caulk and roofing tar and different stuff, and the caulking guns down there. I've been using this for storage, but the problem is now that I got these sawhorses in here, I got this other older workbench I built a long time ago on wheels. Got this in here. I now got my thickness planer, which I didn't have before. It's fairly new. I got my other tool set out here with tools and an old wood lathe my Uncle Frank gave me that I'm still in the process of learning how to use, but I want to be able to start getting back into doing some wood turning. I got all this stuff in here. As you see, it's very hard to get to this, so I'm gonna have to figure out some other way of storing all this stuff in here. I want to pull this dresser out because truthfully, if I start pulling the drawers out, you be able to see it is falling apart. And even though it looks like real wood, it's actually all laminated stuff. None of it's, I think maybe the side posts and maybe the front of the drawers is real wood, but the rest of it's all particle board. So it's not a real wood dresser, and I think I could do some other stuff with this space by opening this up, be able to move this workbench this way where I can still pull it out and use it because it's on wheels, but then I can move these sawhorses more over there, have my table saw pushed in there, kind of turned out of the way, and then open up all this floor space that's right now cluttered, so it gives me room to work around in here to start working on some of my other projects. So that's some updated plans there, and then depending on some of the changes that's coming our way, sorry to keep leaving you hanging on those changes. It's just that there's many of my family members that I haven't clued in either, and I'm going to let them know what those changes are. And then I am making a video, little video clips I want to make into one big video once I'm able to announce those changes. So but until those happen, we're going to keep doing projects in here. Another project I have, if I could pull it out without making a mess one-handedly, is I've mentioned I love to restore old tools. And one restoration project I have in here is this real old plane. Now, I'm not going to fix up both of these, but hopefully I can return a new one on that wood lathe. And then this handle's not in too bad a shape, but it does have some nicks in it, and I might use this as a template to try and make a new handle. But this iron is still in really good shape. It was bent, but I found a way to straighten it up fairly nicely. The camera's kind of blurry, but it's not really showing. It's still a little bent, but it's not showing in the camera. But I'm going to work on putting a new edge on that. And one of the things I got to do, and the reason why I got this one, this frog right here will not fit on this properly, or I would just switch the frogs out. I wish I could do that. They're so close, but the placements of these screws here, if you can see that, is just off enough where the blade will not sit in here properly. I was really hoping I could just, even though this is still kind of corroded, but it has everything already on it. But I do not know what this piece is called right here. I'm trying to do this one-handed. I don't have my handy dandy tripod, but this piece right here I'm now wiggling with my fingers. It allows for the blade adjustment on here. Get this to focus. This thing I'm wiggling, and on this side, if I get this to focus, I'm not used to doing this without my tripod, but that part is broken, so the blade is no longer able to be adjusted. So what I want to do is take a little grinder and grind that pin out, and take this adjustment and the screw in this knob here and attach that to this frog here, and just rebuild this frog. And what I'm going to use, what I'm thinking might work for a nail is, or a pin, is to take an old 16 penny nail, but something that's with good metal, not like galvanized nail or nothing, but an actual metal nail, run it through there and then clip the end and then heat it up and mushroom it on this side so it'll make a whole new pin. But as I take this apart and re-clean it up, I'm rework on flattening the surface of this, and hopefully I could get this plane working for me. I only paid for this one, I only paid like $3 or $4 for it. And then my Uncle Frank seen I was needing this and thought maybe I could take this frog off of here. And so my Uncle Frank gave me this here out of his planes. And so I'm going to try and start working on tackling this and give you updates on it as it goes. But I do have even another one right here that I thought about. These are so close to the same, maybe this frog here would work too, but this one, all it needs is cleaned up and a new handle put on, and this, so I do have this option to get working for me too. So I can either play around with switching out the frogs, or on this one maybe it'll work, I don't know, we'll just try. But hopefully I could get some of these hand planes that I've been needing fixing up. Maybe I could fix both of them up, I don't know. These are currently the hand planes I have currently done. My palm planer here used to be just as in bad of condition as that one. Not even that one, it was in that condition. And this is what I made out of it. It's not a proper restoration. I kind of put my own character to it, and some of the paint I done is scratching off, but it works really good. And I do have this hand plane here. I didn't have to restore it, but I got this little guy here too, and I actually like using this one better than this one. And they're technically made by the same company. It's just now that I painted over and took the stickers off, this no longer says the Handyman Stanley or whatever it said on it. But this here's just a different version of a Stanley. My camera's not wanting to focus no more. But so those are some projects here. I got a lot more. The problem is with having all these projects is sometimes they're never done. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I could tell already I'm gonna make a mess with that, so I'll have to put that back off on camera. But let me put this back on my tripod and I'll get back with you. Man, I'm not used to recording without a tripod anymore. I really love this tripod my brother gave me. It really helps me out a lot. But I just wanted to get back with you. I wanted to tell you, I hope you had a very, very good weekend. I hope you and your family had fun. And we'll get this work week started off. There's other things around here that I gotta get going on too. It's just I'm gonna have to create a priorities list and start with the simplest things first, and maybe even the oldest projects first. And I got other videos probably hopefully coming up on the way. So, but I hope you had a very good weekend. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell's notification so you don't miss anything. And see you in the next video.